Saturday, December 19th, the year is 2020, and one of the most historic events in American history has just taken place. President Trump, in the early morning hours today, tweeted that he wants the American people to march on Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021.
So that is from yesterday's January 6 hearing footage where Jamie Raskin was leading, but the panel attempted to make clear that after Donald Trump called for people to go to the Capitol on January 6th, they took it and ran. Right-wing media figures and extremist organizations began organizing. And I mean that very specifically in terms of the hours. If you take a look at this tweet, they have an excerpt from the discussions yesterday. They referenced his "Be There Will Be Wild" tweet. And apparently, yes, they have communications in these organizations where they began organizing just hours after that tweet. Now, it's not the only thing that Donald Trump did to get them all fired up. And we're gonna return to how Twitter in real time was dealing with the fact that he appeared to be encouraging chaos and violence using that massive platform. But first, I wanna show you a bit more of what was presented yesterday. So take a look at this.
And now Donald Trump is calling on his supporters to descend on Washington, D.C., January 6th.
He is now calling on we, the people, to take action and to show our numbers.
We're going to only be saved by millions of Americans moving to Washington, occupying the entire area, if necessary, storming right into the Capitol. You know, we know the rules of engagement. If you have enough people, you can push down any kind of a fence or a wall.
This could be Trump's last stand. And it's a time when he has specifically called on his supporters to arrive in DC. That's something that may actually be the big push Trump supporters need to say, this is it. It's now or never.
You better understand something, son. You better understand something. Red wedding. This is going to be a red wedding going down January 6th.
Okay, so look, that there was far more of that, and I'm sure you recognize some of those figures, not others. You had Alex Jones really trying to restrain himself. You had Tim Poole doing his weird broadcaster voice that he does. I don't actually watch his show. Is that how he talks all the time? Noted lefty Tim Poole, very enthusiastic there about attempt to overthrow democracy so that a Republican can stay in charge. But anyway, you had that. I didn't know that one guy talking about the rules of engagement, wherein if you have enough people, you can push over walls. I wasn't in the military, but I don't think that's generally listed as one of the major rules of engagement. These guys, it's all cosplay, it's all fantasy. Come on, it's like them putting on elf ears. They want to be something that they're not. They love talking and trying to sound tough and everything. And they know some of the words in the lingo, but they don't really know what they're doing. But anyway, you did have some of them saying it'd be a red wedding, talking about literally storming the Capitol. And all of that, of course, was in advance of January 6th. And Brett, that is what they in fact did, spurred on by Donald Trump's efforts to get them there.
Right, this is what they've been doing a very good job of from the beginning of the hearings, is just connecting dots. Like folks have said afterwards, well, Trump was just out there saying something about, just talking, how he's so extemporaneous, it's all off the cuff with him.
Yeah.
And he'll say, let's go fight. He doesn't actually mean fight. And then so that those same people who are saying that say because that is how Donald Trump operates, you can't hold him criminally or even civilly responsible for the actions of the crazies in the crowd. But what they've systematically been able to do through these hearings, through testimony and a whole bunch of other receipts, is paint a picture that no, this was actually the plan. Knowingly is an operative word in criminal liability. And so he knowingly riled up these psychopaths. He knowingly made them attack the Capitol. And as we've discovered, like the results were exactly what any reasonable person would have assumed, is if you rile up Alex Jones fans who are only with him because they love the crazy UFC unbridled, no holds bar octagon approach to American politics, then they're going to act like that and they're going to storm the Capitol. And to have Trump talking to these folks and then see them behave like that, that is a causality, or at least like a liability.
Yeah, look, the reason I like this is because it shows the ecosystem. It's not just one way. Donald Trump doesn't just inspire them to do this. He's talking to people, he's reading things, and he's absorbing all of that absolute conspiratorial nonsense and then using that for his own purposes. So he puts out the message. And maybe by itself, that would be enough to get a crowd of people there to storm the Capitol. But they really would like to have organizers. They want to have the Alex Joneses and the Tim Pooles and the Charlie Kirks or whoever to really talk it up. Now, most of those people are not going to go. They're not going to die storming the barricades. That's not why they got into this. Tim Poole or whatever is rich. He just wants to do this to be rich. So he will stay at home. He will send you to be shot and die. Same Alex Jones, to his insane credit, at least got kind of close to what was going on. He wasn't going to storm and potentially get his head cracked open or anything. But anyway, Donald Trump knew what was likely to happen. But far more importantly, we know that he wanted it to happen. Donald Trump did not do all of this so that there could be a crowd of people kind of close to the Capitol who would have their voices be heard and then go home. He didn't spend months to get that outcome, okay? This was designed to create chaos. The chaos itself was intended to put pressure on lawmakers to do something that, of course, they couldn't actually do. They couldn't overturn the results of the election, but he liked the idea that they could. This was all intentional. The tactics and the outcome was intended. And all of this is like all of this discussion, all of this coverage in the January 6 hearings is just to hopefully get Merrick Garland to accept that, to believe that the threat is bad enough that were it to happen again, like that's something that should be avoided, Brett.
Well, I think it's not in the hands of the January 6th committee to prosecute, right? That's just not what it's about. That's not what it's for. And so there are other people making calculations such as, all right, what is the conviction mechanism that could actually put Trump behind bars? How reliable is that? How related is the decision-making process of the people who would put him in jail or slap him with a crime that would keep him from being eligible for running again? What is that related to what a reasonable person would conclude? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe Trump lost a lot of legal cases trying to overturn the election on the way there. So there is some sanity in our judicial branch still. And as said by some of Trump's one-time allies who turned on him, they were like, well, these are judges that we appointed who are saying no. But is that reliable? How would that go over in the court of public opinion, given that he's been impeached twice and he's still a major operative and the impeachments failed in conviction? So then if you do prosecute and you lose, then Trump can say, I got off scot-free. I didn't do any of those things like he did the last 2 times he was impeached. Sure. And in the meantime, the last thing I'll say on it is what the people on the January 6th committee are trying to do is convince regular voters that all right, he might not ever go to jail for it, but we're gonna take you very simply and colloquially through everything that happened and not put it in some high and mighty language that you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump if he's on the ballot again because he's a psychopath trying to ruin America.